Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm so grateful. In today's video, I wanted to talk about triggers, how you can use your triggers, whether it's related to relationships or it's related to wealth, health, anything else, to reaffirm your self concept, your new story, your new belief system. So, what essentially do you wish for when you are experiencing triggers? You really wish to not be in that space anymore, right? As much as triggers are unpleasant, they feel negative, they also are indicators and they also are opportunities for you to learn and grow. And it is a really good opportunity for you to strengthen your new beliefs and be persistent in your new story. I mentioned this earlier as well that any negative emotions, anything that you feel inside you, all are indicators. They're not coming up to scare you, they're just coming up to let you know that there's something going on that needs to be changed. There is a really specific video on that, and I have also spoken about this in detail in the resistance playlist, which I will link up here. You can have a look. When you want good things and good people materializing in your reality, ideally, your focus should be concentrated towards the long term sustainability of that favorable circumstance or that desirable person. And as I mentioned in my previous videos, if you really want to sustain favorable reality, if you really want to sustain this new favorable change you have materialized in your reality, you need to dig deep, right? You need to understand where your triggers are coming from. You need to understand why they are coming up, and you need to work on the root cause of it. Ensure you're dissolving that away, and then everything that you're trying to materialize will sustain forever in your life. Usually, what people do is they are able to materialize favorable things, favorable situations, and people, but because they have not worked on their triggers, they have not worked on their self concept and those kind of related things, their old stories, old triggers do come up once they get that thing or they get that person. Those old version, old stories, old triggers do come up, and during that time they do not know how to handle it because they have not learned how to deal with those emotions once they have their manifestation materialized in their reality. Then everything starts again, reacting to the 3D, reflecting your own limiting beliefs on the other person or the situation. And when those people start shifting or those circumstances start shifting and reflecting your inner belief again, and you feel like now you're losing what you have materialized, and you just sit wondering what went wrong. I mentioned this before that calling things and people in, materializing them in your reality is not the most difficult part. A lot of people get stuck with sustaining it. And if you don't want to lengthen your process of manifestation, you should really start practicing it in a way where your focus is, I do want this, but I also want it to be sustainable for the long term. I don't want to call it in, then lose it, then put in all my energy in manifesting something back, going mad about it, getting frustrated. You need to go to the root cause. And that is how I want to teach conscious creation on my channel, where you just don't understand how to call in things, but you also understand how you can sustain them. And you actually learn how to deal with your negative emotions and not get stuck every time they come up. And some people get really kind of afraid to deal with their negative emotions or try to understand where they're coming from because they have this understanding in their mind that what I focus on will grow, right? Because in manifestation, basically, that's what we are teaching you guys, that what you focus on grows, so focus on what you want. That does not mean that if you sit and focus on your negative emotions while working on dissolving them away, it will materialize more of negative emotions. No. That happens when you're dwelling in the emotions without focusing on the solution. Okay. Dwelling in your emotions and allowing your emotions and letting them go are two completely different things. When you're dwelling in your emotions, you're just in a victim mindset. Okay. When you're dwelling, you're basically just replaying those old experiences. Then either you're upset, low, you're crying, and you're just in a questioning mode. Why is this happening to me? Why did that person do this to me? Why did that person say this to me? Why does this always happen to me? Okay, that is dwelling in your emotions when all you want to do is replay that experience, but you're not doing anything to come out of it. You're not taking any decisions to focus on the solution. and how you can permanently dissolve feeling this way. Okay, that is dwelling. The more you do that, yes, you're putting your focus on negative emotions in a dwelling way, and they will recreate themselves. Sitting and focusing on the solution, and for that, if you have to focus on your negative emotions, you won't create more of it because you're working on the solution. You're going to the root cause of why you're feeling that way. You're not dwelling in the negative emotion. You're trying to understand, why am I feeling that way? And when you understand why you're feeling that way, it could be anything related to self concept, then you're going to put in your work towards it, right? So you're putting your work towards the solution over there. That is not called as focusing on negative emotions and creating more of it. That will only happen when you're repressing your emotions, when you are dwelling in your emotions, not when you're trying to find a solution. So triggers are indicators, okay? They can help you in the moment to persist in the new reality you're seeking, to persist in the new belief or self concept that you have been working on. I'll give you an example of a specific person. Okay, if you are with someone, whether you have the commitment, you don't have the commitment, does not matter. If you're with someone and you're spending some time with them, maybe you are hanging out somewhere and you start feeling that they are not concentrating on you, or you start feeling like they are busy doing something else, or they are interested in doing any other activity but sit and spend some time with me and talk to me and have a conversation, right? And it's upsetting you, okay? You might be feeling triggered because of that. Everyone has different triggers that might have rooted from their past experiences, right? If in your past experience you have felt insecure, if the person has made you feel a certain way where you don't feel important, where you feel they don't spend time with you, then yeah, those triggers might come up even in a new relationship, even though this new person's intention, till now at least, is not to make you feel not important. For them, they're just doing a general thing. Maybe they're just enjoying the hangout, or they're just looking at the phone at something really interesting. That person actually might have no intention in any way whatsoever to make you feel excluded in that moment. But because you've had past negative experiences, that thing might be triggering you. And if you put that label, if you perceive it that way, that this person is not giving me importance, this person is always on their phone, this person is not interested in having conversations with me, spending time with me, connecting with me, right? Once you start giving out those perceptions, those meanings, tags, label, whatever you want to call, to a person, to a situation, that's what becomes your reality, right? However you perceive your reality, however you perceive people and situations, is how they will show up for you, right? Internal thoughts, beliefs show up outside. Once you start perceiving things and people in a certain way and you replay it within you, it becomes dominant within you. That's how it will reflect outside, right? And they will start showing up that way even more. So everything starts with your perceptions. Now, what should you be doing in those situations where you feel those old triggers coming up, right? First of all, take a pause. Okay, you can do that. Take a pause, take in some deep breaths, breathe out. Okay, just take a step back, pause before you react to the situation in a manner that might aggravate the situation even further. Just take a pause and create a inner dialogue. Okay, ask yourself, why am I getting triggered? So instead of identifying with that trigger, okay, instead of making that trigger real and associating yourself with it, if you associate yourself with that trigger, if you think that yes, this is my identity, you will react, right? And that is a behavior you want to get rid of, right? You don't want to do that. So you have to do something opposite. Opposite would be taking the step back, as I mentioned. Talk to yourself. What is triggering me so much? Why is this triggering me? Why am I giving this meaning? Why am I perceiving it in this way? Turn everything inwards. And that's how you materialize everything, right? As long as you keep things focused outwards, right? You imply each time you're putting things outwards, you are implying you don't have the power. Okay. And that is completely the opposite of what we are trying to teach in this journey of conscious creation, that you have the power. So each time you talk in a way where that person does something to trigger me, that person knows this thing triggers me, still they do it. You want to control everything outside. But you should be working on your triggers. You should be dissolving your triggers away Instead of projecting your triggers on every person that enters your life, whenever something triggers inside you, there's no doubt about this, okay? Listen to this. Whenever something triggers inside you, small or big, it's always you. It's never someone outside. So the more you focus outside and blame people for triggering you, there are things inside you that needs to be resolved, a belief system, a self concept, some kind of lack that you need to work on and take your power back from all these people or situations. The more people can affect you, the more situations can affect you, the more you're giving away your power. Where does your power lie? Your power lies in your own stability. My power is in the control I have over my emotions, the control I have over my belief system, the way I perceive my reality, the people around me, the way I respond, not react, respond to situations, how I keep my nervous system stabilized, how I regulate my emotions, my emotional intelligence, right? All that is in my power. The moment I start saying this situation or this person has the power to trigger me, has the power to bring out any kind of negative emotion in me, try to understand where your power is. You're powerless. You have given away your power to everything and everyone else, and now you are in a victim mindset. So when a trigger comes up, stop focusing it outwards. The example I was giving, if the person is not talking to you or they are on their phone, whatever it may be, stop saying that person is doing this to trigger me. Why are you doing this to trigger me? That is manipulating your 3D. Come back to yourself. What is it that they're doing that's triggering me and why is it triggering me? Am I feeling insecure of what they might be doing on their phone? Are they talking to someone else? Am I insecure? Am I feeling not good enough? Am I feeling not important enough that they want to sit and talk to me? All this has nothing to do with that person outside. Every time we say in these videos that no one to change but self. Okay, everything is something that needs to be resolved here, fixed here, and then it will reflect outside, right? You're not fixing that person and giving them a rule book that these ABCD, these things trigger me, so you better not be doing this. No, that's manipulation. You're not manipulating in manifestation, right? You're shifting your identity. So first of all, don't identify with that trigger. That's not your story. That's not the version you want to be. Don't associate with it. And that means not reacting. Step back, talk to yourself, try to understand why you're feeling this way. Okay, maybe the last person made me feel this way, that I was not important and I was not good enough for them, and their attention used to be everywhere else, so I used to feel insecure. But it's okay. This time around, I will not perceive the situation that way. This time around, I will not give it negative meanings, okay? Because I know the more meanings I give to anything, that's how the things are going to show up. This time around, I'm going to ensure that whenever triggers are coming up, I'm reaffirming around my self concept, new story, new beliefs, the new version of me that will bring me out of that trigger, and then I will sit back and relax. So create some affirmations around those specific times when you feel triggered. Okay, it works. Practice it and see it for yourself. Create affirmations around your self concept. I am worthy. I am deserving. I add so much value to my relationships. Okay, I bring so much to the table. I have so much to offer. Of course, this person loves me. Of course, this person likes me. Of course, this person loves paying attention to me, and I'm just giving out irrelevant meanings to normal situations, and I'm not going to do that because this is not the story I associate with. I know what kind of reality I want, and in my reality, I'm chosen. Every time, each time, I'm chosen. I bring value. I deserve all good things and all good people. I am someone who deserves commitment, attention. I am so secure in my own self because I have this love and wholeness within me. I am so secure, I don't even care. So affirm that for some time. Okay, when you affirm it for some time, you do some breath work, you will see that trigger toning down and slowly fading away. And the more you do these kind of practices whenever your triggers are coming up, okay, first of all, these triggers did not come up in one day or one night. This is something you really need to understand because people don't reverse engineer and see how a negative belief or trigger came up, what the process was, how long it took, and how it settled in within them. Okay, that they don't realize. But when they're trying to replace it with something new, they want everything like this. Okay, they don't have patience, they don't want to wait. I affirmed for 5 days when my triggers came up. Why on the sixth day it's still coming up? Okay, did your triggers settle in you in 5 days? No. Whatever past relationships you've had, okay, 1, 2, 3, and however long they were for, 5 months, 10 months, 1 year, 2 years. Some people stay in relationships that trigger them for years and years. You think your triggers settled within you in 5 days? They definitely did not. It took so many events, incidents, conversations, arguments over weeks and months to become that so dominant within you where you have started expecting that, this is what will happen to me and these are the kind of people that will come into my life. Okay, it took that long for you to just take up that identity that this always happens with my relationship. Okay, so have some patience when you're trying to replace those old beliefs that are so deep rooted in you. Don't count things like 5 days I did it, 6 days still coming up. Have some patience. You're not putting those beliefs on a blank canvas. Okay, when it's a blank canvas where you don't have any negative beliefs around a subject, like a small child, right? A small child, when they are at that age where they are developing, where their brain is developing, that's the first stage where they would be taking in beliefs and perceptions wherever they go, whether it's in school or it's from their parents, right? So that's like a blank canvas for the child at that stage. You are not a blank canvas. You already have a lot of negative things in that area that you're replacing. Putting new beliefs on a blank canvas is really easy. Already having so many negative experiences and then trying to first dissolve them, then replace them, and ensure the replaced ones become dominant will take a little time. And if you're not patient through that, if every time you want to concentrate on these many days are over, why my beliefs are not sinking in, this and that, then you're not really serious about this process. You need to have some patience because those triggers didn't come overnight. Okay, they took a long time to settle within you. Give yourself the same kind of time and discipline for the new beliefs to sink in. So don't turn away from your triggers or negative emotions. I always suggest you to deal with it, make peace with it, and let it go away. Okay. The more you are able to let your old beliefs, negative emotions go away instead of repressing them, the more stronger self concept you build, and the more sustainable your materialized reality would be. Now, each time the trigger is coming up, you're getting rid of your old story and old beliefs, right? It may happen that a few times this person does again show up in that same way where that trigger is coming up. As I mentioned, be patient through this process. Your new beliefs will become dominant, okay? Anything you feed yourself on a regular basis, feed your mind, it will become dominant, okay? Just everyone's timeline might be different depending on how much they're reacting and giving into their old version, their old story, and reacting to the 3D. Now, when you have worked on your trigger for some time, say a few days or few weeks, and still one day that person shows up in a manner which makes you feel like they're not, paying the attention to you that they should. In that moment, you need to develop this kind of ability to not go backwards. And by backwards, I mean to just give out this one statement and say, I put in so much work, it's not working. You are going backwards. Progress is always going forward step by step, okay? And even when you're going forward step by step, right? Take up any situation in your life where you have made progress. In that path also, sometimes the old things will pop up, because you're not completely in this new state. You're working towards it, right? It's a work you're doing. Finally, you will reach that place where you will have the new beliefs, right? But till the old ones are completely eliminated, they might reflect outside here and there. During that time, what do you need to do? You need to reaffirm in your self concept, as I mentioned. Continue doing that. I don't care what's going on in your mind, continue doing that. Continue reaffirming every time the opportunity comes up where a trigger is coming up. Just Remember this in your mind. This is an opportunity. I need to reaffirm, re-strengthen my beliefs. You should get happy about this opportunity. See it in that lens. I try in each of my videos that I can change the lens through which you're seeing and perceiving things in a way that makes you feel good. Be happy about the triggers coming up. Why? Oh, this is an opportunity, and it's a great opportunity where this circumstance or trigger is in my face. And if in this moment I'm able to persist and strengthen my belief and self concept, the progress is, going to be big. It's huge. When you are in those circumstances and situations where they have all the ability to bring a negative emotion out of you, to get a reaction out of you, if in those circumstances you're able to persist, it's amazing. It's amazing. You will understand how much strength you have, right? Compared to those situations where nothing is actually happening, everything is fine, and then you're reaffirming your self concept versus that situation when things are in your face and you're reaffirming. These two situations are really different. This is a very relaxed situation, okay? Because everything is in your favor. Here, when the trigger is in your face and you strengthen your belief and self concept, in these times when you're able to do that, nothing ever, no circumstance ever can break your belief or your self concept. Each time, remind yourself who you are. You have the power. You create your reality. You have the power to always shift your identity. You have the power to perceive things in a way that are favorable to you. If you keep reacting to your triggers, if you keep reacting to unfavorable circumstances, they will keep repeating, okay? Because you're focusing on it, you're replaying it in your mind, you're making them dominant, it will keep materializing. And then you will keep putting out these kind of behaviors that you don't want to, right? You don't want to react to your triggers. You want to be that person who can sit back, relax, and know that this is not your reality and this is not the trigger I choose to identify with, and I'm going to replace it. I'm going to ensure it dissolves away. I'm going to ensure my self talk is so strong, my inner dialogue is so strong that I'm never in this kind of situation again. Always know your value in the moment, okay? Always ensure you're soothing yourself and then you're responding, not reacting to your triggers or reacting to the situations. What does it feel like when you know you have successfully worked on those things that have created those triggers, right? First of all, you won't be triggered with those things anymore. The more you build your self concept, you know you're valuable, you know you're worthy, you know you deserve this kind of person who will commit to you, who will give you the attention that you need, who will be interested in connecting with you at all levels. You will not care. You will not care if someone is not being that way for that day or during those few hours. You will not care, okay? And the more you persist in that kind of self concept, that will reflect on that person. That person will be compelled to show up in a way that is favorable to you, which also kind of covers everyone is you pushed out concept. I spoke about this in one of my previous videos, how whenever you affirm the things in your mind, it compels people to show up in that way, right? People, situations, anything. So I'll link it up here, you can have a look. Just know this, that as long as something is triggering you, that something is there in you that needs to be addressed. That's all. Now sit and figure out what those things are. Okay, try to go back to your previous experiences and understand how you can resolve it, how you can build your self concept in a way that this trigger just fades away. If I genuinely know I'm worthy and deserving, okay, not as a surface level, but really, and that's the way I'm creating my self concept, I wouldn't even care about it. Okay, you come into that relaxing space and your triggers fade away the more you build your self concept. Because no, this is not what I identify with, this is not the situation I want, so I'm not going to give it any reaction. I'm going to persist in that behavior, end state, version of me, personality of me that has everything that I want. I'm going to instead address that belief, address that trigger, move on, persist in the kind of reality I'm seeking, and I know it's going to show up. Okay, so that's all I wanted to discuss in that video. I really hope it adds value to your manifestation process. If you have had any experience around this, you can leave it in the comment section below. I also have my Instagram linked below for a regular dose of motivation. Everything I discuss in these videos, terms and concepts are uploaded there in a written format. My second channel is also linked below, which is more around self-development, not from a manifestation perspective, but in general. So if it interests you, you can subscribe over there. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, have a great week.